So welcome and hello everyone. My name is Tomeo Estelrich. I am the director of the Center for Ignatian Spirituality here at Boston College. And along with Dan Jocelyn Siematovic, director of the Center for Christian Jewish Learning and the Kraft Family Chair Professor, I am very happy to welcome you to this lecture entitled Jews, Christians, and Civil Society, Bergoglio in Argentina by Rabbi Sergio Bergman. If you are as old as I am, or older, probably you will remember Lieutenant Colonel Hannibal Smith in the TV show The A-Team. Do you remember him? He's the one who liked to say at the end of each episode, "I love it when a plan comes together." Well, I have to say that that sentence and the feelings and memories that that TV show bring to me are very similar to what I have experienced organizing this lecture. The plan to bring Rabbi Sergio Bergman to Boston College happened, like in the TV show, in a very serendipitous way. In late September, I met Professor Marina Bers on a gathering for faculty at the Jesuit residence here, just right here. In between appetizers, she told me about her old friend, Sergio Bergman. Both of them are from Argentina. She told me about his book, A Gospel According to Francis, that I just got. Since Francis, in the title of the book, makes reference to the actual Pope, which is the former Cardinal of Buenos Aires, Jorge Maria Bergoglio, and also the former provincial of the Jesuits in Argentina, I told her that I would be interested in reading his book. She immediately responded, "We should bring him." Not knowing exactly what to say and what I was getting into, I said, "Of course." Now, at the same meeting, Dan Jocelyn was also present. But he was gone already when all this happened. So a few weeks later, I called him and I said, "Dan, do you have a moment? Would you be interested in bringing a rabbi from Argentina who wrote a book about the Pope?" He looked at me and, probably not knowing exactly what he was getting into, immediately said yes, embraced the idea, and suggested the topic for this lecture. And the rest, as we like to say, is history. So I love it when a plan comes together. Marina, Dan, sorry if I have exaggerated a little bit what happened that day, but that was part of the fun. But I just wanted to give to the attendees a little bit of a taste of how big things happen here at Boston College with very routinary and small events. And I also to express my gratitude to both of you for making this event possible. I also want to thank Rabbi Sergio Bergman for being here today, for his generosity and readiness preparing this lecture. He has been so flexible, has been so easy to organize, and for helping us today, this morning, to reflect and better understand his friend, Jorge Maria Bergoglio, his hermeneutical approach to social issues, and his spirituality as a form of political involvement. With that said, I am passing the podium to Dan so that he will introduce properly Rabbi Sergio Bergman.
Thank you very much, Tomeo. It really was an A-team moment of this coming together. It's my pleasure now to welcome Rabbi Sergio Bergman. He, as well as being a rabbi, is an Argentinian politician, social activist, community leader, and president of the World Union for Progressive Judaism. Rabbi Bergman has served as the Argentinian Minister of the Environment and Sustainable Development from the years 2015 to 2019. He was named one of the world's 100 most influential leaders in the fight against climate change, and he has received numerous international distinctions and awards, and is a strong exponent on civil discourse in Argentina and globally. Rabbi Bergman is the author of several books besides A Gospel According to Francis, including A Civic Manifesto of Argentina, Citizen Virtues, and Civics in Argentina with Biblical Texts. That book was actually endorsed, blurbed, by Cardinal Bergoglio. So with that, Rabbi Bergman, please join us and welcome him.
Thank you so much for the introduction. And first of all, I want to apologize about my poor English. I will try to do my best. And also to thank all my Argentinian fellows here in Boston coming to share with us this lecture and this lunch. For me, it's a really privilege to be with all of you and in this university, in this Boston College. And for all of us that we have the privilege to know in person Pope Francis, we really came back to our roots, like Argentinians, coming from the bottom of the world, and to really show up to share the spirituality vision, how we can match and connect politics and religion. I know that sounds weird, but this is exactly the contribution from this kind of leadership. In the book, Gospel According to Francis, I make my own contribution to recognize that nothing new is coming from him now. He's really consistent and stable about a vision that now add a new dimension because he moved from the first step to become a teacher. After that, he proved himself like an amazing leader. And finally, now, he's a head of state. He's the head of the Vatican State. And that's been, for us, some continuity about what really he teaches us, like a rabbi. Because I call him my rabbi because he was my inspiration to move from the synagogue in Libertad Street in Buenos Aires and to move out from the synagogue, only 200 meters from the synagogue, to the square, the public square in front of the Supreme Court of Argentina, to start to us with the biblical verse, Tzedek, Tzedek tirdof, justice, justice you will pursue, about all the impunity and the corruption, the lack of security, and the two bombings that the Jewish community have in 92 in the Israel embassy and 94 in the Jewish headquarters. But the two issues that we go out to the streets to demonstrate that we are full integrated citizens like Jewish Argentinians, it's part of a long story of the Argentinian history, tragedies, and pending things that we need to fix. I don't know if you remember, because for us Argentinians, to live every time in crisis is our normal state of mind. Part of the resilience of the Argentinian is that you are not surprised that you are moving from one crisis to another one. But in 2001, we have the collapse of the system. All the people really go to the streets, asking to the politician, go out. And Cardinal Bergoglio, now Pope Francis, built a round table and invite all the religions and invite all the non-profit organizations and all the civil actors to come to run the Diálogo Argentino, the Argentinian dialogue. That was an amazing experience to bring all the society to say how we can build the common ground and how can we, with different perspectives, different ideologies, religions, and political view, how we can build together the common ground to come back to the dream and the utopia of the nation of Argentina. It was in this context that I met him in person. But not in the inter-religious dialogue in the formal dimension of the top leader of the religions. No, in my case, like a social leader, a rabbi, an Argentinian citizen, I discovered in him my teacher, my own rabbi. How he can address from the religion to a very consistent and substantive contribution, asking to the citizens that we cannot be all the time passive inhabitants of the country, that we cannot really stay like the professional victims of the Argentinian government, that politics and representation in democracy is a symptom, is an evidence of the cultural background of the people. You know that we are complaining all the time about politicians, but at the end of the day, they are part of our society. They are part of our values. They are part of our tradition. And it's like an expiation to say all of our problems are in politics. All of our problems are in the values that we translate in actions in our day-by-day life. And here, he built a bridge between the personal interest and the public interest. If we really believe in democracy, to keep going only with our agenda. If we really want from the society only the thing that makes sense for us, of also we are ready to make some kind of contribution to the public goodwill. Because the public dimension is not from the government. The public dimension is the common ground that everyone have rights, civil rights, that's correct, but also we have ethical, moral, and civic obligations. Coming back to my journey, why my dialogue and my opportunity to meet him changed my life? The first coincidence is he studied Bergoglio, chemistry, in the high school in Buenos Aires. After that, you know, he decided to become a priest with the Jesuit. And this is for me the connection between this story and this place. How the Jesuit formation in his mind and his performance makes him the new Pope. Because the good gospel and the good news that we need to share is not like an Argentinian became the Pope. This is only for us, the Argentinian people, that we put ourselves all the time in the center. I am not talking about December and the World Cup. I am talking about the auto-reference of Argentinian people, and also if you are coming from Buenos Aires, if you are a porteño, that everything starts and ends in yourself. This is our ego dimension. But the good news, the revolution, is that a Jesuit became the Pope. And this needs some kind of understanding about the internal process in the Catholic Church, how we arrive to this, for me, good news. In my life, the same. I start my professional career like in chemistry. I studied in the University of Buenos Aires, pharmacy and biochemistry. I moved from science to conscience, and I changed exactly the medicines. I moved from the drugs in the lab to the alchemy of the spirit, and I became a rabbi. I have the formation of rabbis from the conservative movement in Argentina, from the Latin America Seminary, and also from the Reform movement at the Hebrew College in Jerusalem. That means that in the religious streams in Judaism, I work in the two dimensions. I like Android and Apple. I work conservative reform. That means I'm full compatible in this dimension. But the important thing for me is I don't really believe in streams in Judaism. I believe in values in Judaism. But it's our conception, our values to offer, not only to the Jewish community, to the world society, the tradition of the ethics, humanism that the Jewish tradition shared with all the humankind. But when I finished my studies in Jerusalem, I came back to Argentina, and it was exactly in the year that we had the bombing of the AMIA, in 1994. And I feel that I cannot stay quiet praying in the synagogue, that I need to move on. And we create Memoria Activa, that we call active memory, that every Monday, at the same time that we have the bombing of the AMIA, we stand by the Supreme Court asking for justice. Then I have the understanding that now I need to upgrade my rabbinate from the Jewish community to the Argentinian society. But I do not make a decision that I left my position like a rabbi and now I became a politician. No. For me, it was clear that it was the same way. Keep going like a rabbi, but serving the world society, giving testimony about Jewish values and commitment to the goodwill of our society. In the light of the teaching of our sacred text and the prophetic vision of Isaiah and Oseas, that we need justice to live in peace. There is no truth, there is no peace without justice. I created in Argentina a non-profit organization from the first book that was after Manifiesto Ciudadano, the Civic Manifesto, Argentina Ciudadana, Argentine citizenship, based in biblical text. My contribution was to go around the country, and this is very Jesuit, go around and to bring the good news. And my good news was to make the connection between the Torah, and I took the 5 books of Moses, and the Constitution of Argentina. And to say that in the religious approach, the Torah is sacred for us, because we, the people of Israel, we are B'nai Brit, we are the son and the daughter of the covenant. But in Argentina, like a citizen, also you have a holy covenant with the law, with the institutions. And then I go around to teach Torah with the constitution of the nation, and to say we are talking about the same thing. Why? Because for me, this is a religious approach of revelation of God. But every country that really believes in values and what really to keep going in democracy and pluralism, inclusiveness, and to respect the democracy, we need to make holy the democracy. The democracy and the rights and obligations to build together the fraternity of the society, that we are only one family, into diversity to look for the unity. Not to cancel the diversity to be the same, the opposite. We really believe that it's part of God's idea. If we are the same people that believe in only one God, now we say we have only one God. This is common ground, we are okay. We are together, all the people of the books. This is what we are saying, the Jewish people, the Christian people in all the denominations, and the Muslim. If we are believing in only one God that is Father of or Mother of everyone, that means that we are brothers and sisters. No? For sure, everyone, like in any family, believes that you are the chosen one. But don't make any difference, because we need to keep going like brothers and sisters. And we need to really give the evidence that we are one. In the same way that we are doing this in the religion approach of revelation and commitment and covenant, we need to do the same thing in the secular dimension, because we need in every country, to have a clear separation between religion and state. To make the separation between religion and state is the safeguard from freedom of belief, freedom of choose what you want to be, to say, to believe, and to vote. Doesn't mean that we cannot connect the values of our religion to inspire and to guide the secular state. The opposite. This is our commitment. If we are religious people, we need to do it. Not to impose, not to say that is the only true, not to use authority and power to conquer. We need to use authority and power to teach. After 10 years going around the country teaching this new catechesis, my new gospel was the Argentinian Constitution, based in values, I came back to my rabbi, my teacher, Bergoglio, and said, you know what, Jorge, now I realize that if we keep going only in civic politics, never will change. Why? Because the politicians that take over the power now, they know that nobody that have values, goodwill, and make the decision to come into politics only for the goodwill of the people, they will stay away. They are not coming in. That means that they are on the safe side, saying that the civil society will complain, but they will keep going with the same game. And then I said, now that I read, and this is part of my book, I read all the documents that you brought, like the chief of the Episcopal Conference in Argentina, I read it. Strange, because, you know, the bishop in Argentina doesn't read it, and I'm like a rabbi, I read it, all of them. He came back and said, I want to do exactly what you are teaching. You are saying that every inhabitant of the country must be a citizen. You are saying that every secular member of this society needs to take a commitment, that we cannot stay at home complaining, that we need to move on. You know what? Rabbis, we are not priests. I need to share with all of you that I asked him if there is a possibility to become the first freelancer rabbi of the Catholic Church in Argentina. But he explained me that this is not yet possible, not yet, that he can take this like the first case. And it was funny because also I know Cardinal Sanchez Orondo from the Pontificia University, and then he listened about that and he told me, I don't know if this is possible. No, don't worry. I cannot make this application. But if you know, there is something like that I can use, because if I am going to the Jewish community to ask them if I will get support to become a politician, I know exactly will be the answer. No way. This is risky. This is dangerous. We need to have low profile. We don't know what will happen next time. We have 2 bombings. We have here in Argentina Eichmann, the Nazis, persecution, anti-Semitism. no, don't do it. You will expose the Jewish community in the political ground. And this is not good for us. The conclusion about the deliberation inside the Jewish community was easy, very easy, because half of the community say, okay, and half of the community say, no way. That means in the Jewish community that you are in the right position. If everyone say it's okay, it's a problem. If everyone say it's wrong, it's an opportunity. But in any case, I was exactly in the middle. But coming back to the church, I realized that when I make this decision, I say, I want to come into politics, not in civic politics, into politics, and I need to choose a party, because we in Argentina, the Jewish community, are not aligned with a party. The Catholic Church in Argentina, is for another discussion and another lecture, is like a party, but this is a different story. This is a different story, and I all the time congratulate him because always he wins. No matter which party is on the government, you have players in everyone. Because if you came back to the origin of the Argentinian tradition, I don't know if you know, but in the Constitution of Argentina, only in 1994, they changed the Constitution to allow to people that is not Catholic to become president. And for me, it's important to explain this because Bergoglio also made a revolution in Argentina about the openness in the interfaith dialogue and to bring everyone. Remember when I told about the Argentinian dialogue? He don't sit alone and say, I am the Catholic Church and I can't really fix the problem. He say, no, we need to call everyone to come to the table. We need to call all the religions, all the civil society, and to be together. This openness that we need to realize that is not original from Bergoglio, because if we need to really acknowledge about someone that made the first move and a big change, was Saint Jean Paul II. As you know, we the Jewish people, we cannot vote in the Vatican, but if we need to have the right to vote, we need to vote for him like a saint. Jean Paul II. You say, why? Because the Vatican II and Nostra Aetate in 1964 was clear about the religion and the dialogue between Jewish and Christians, closing 2,000 years of the root of anti-Semitism in the Catholic Church. Very important document. Very important turning point of the history of the Vatican. But only when you realize that what is brought in the document became action, and someone really take this and make from this a living example, and became a role model, only then you can change things in reality. Becomes not from the theology to a very concrete action on the field. Jean Paul II crossed over the Trastevere, came to the synagogue of Rome, coming to the synagogue, gave a big hug to the rabbi in Rome, and he said, they are our big brothers in the faith. One walk, one sentence, and close the gap. He teaches something that Pope Francis is keep going in this direction, that every Catholic or Christian that really believes in his own values and religious practice need to recognize the Jewish roots of his or her Christianity. He doesn't say that every good Christian needs to talk with the Jews. No. He says that he needs to dive deeper in the roots of Christian tradition and to realize how much Judaism is there. But on the other hand, also he challenged us, the Jewish people, to recognize that also Jesus, that is not for us Christ, not the Messiah, Jesus was a rabbi. And he delivered rabbinic teachings. He teach Torah, not the gospel. And that means for all of us, how important is this common ground to come back to the tree that we are aligned with the same roots? Maybe we can give different fruits, but we are the same cosmovision of humanism, ethics, and goodwill from the extended family of humankind. When I came back to him to say, you know what, I am coming into politics, that implies that now we need to have a different relation, because if I am coming in politics, I am a member of a party, we cannot really keep going like in the interfaith dialogue as always, because I understood that they need to respect his position, like the cardinal in Argentina. We can keep going in our personal relations, but not in public, because politics and religion need to be separate. I say, perfect. And he told me, you need to think really well if it's good for you to come into politics. And like, every Jesuit, he never said nothing literally. You cannot quote him. He teach you with a parable, with a phrase, with a biblical passage, and he told me, now, Sergio, you are like the prophet Ezekiel in the tower, and you talk about your vision of Argentina, of the society, what we need to do, and when you are there, top of the tower, visioning the future, you make the diagnostic about what's happened, and the people applaud. Because really you are talking about philosophy, ideas, how to fix things. And he told me, but now if you want to come into politics, you will go down from the tower and you will become, we say in Hebrew, Adonai Tzvaot, part of the army of God. That means you are moving from the tower of the vision, like a prophet, to become of the army of God in the battle. And you need to take care about this. And I said, what? Bergoglio, you are telling me that I don't need to come into politics. And I know that you came so early, 5:30, to pray in the morning. Because after your prayers, the only thing that you are doing is politics. You are a politician, aligned with the spiritual values. And he asked me, yes, that's correct, but I am pushing forward the secular people of the Catholic Church to do this work. I am not asking to the priest to do it, I am asking to the secular people to move on. In your case, you are a rabbi, and I know that you are trying to explain that you are not a priest. But good luck, try it. The people cannot really make this distinction. But if it's your vocation, I am only not asking you, as always he asks to everyone, pray for me. I also will be ready to pray for you. And then I move on in my direction, and I became the first rabbi that was elected in a public office in Argentina, starting in the Council of the City of Buenos Aires in 2010-11. In 2013, also I led the ballot of our party to become the national representative in the Congress, a congressman in Argentina. And like you heard in the introduction, in 2015, when our party won the election and President Macri became the president of Argentina, I became the Minister of Environment and Sustainable Development. That is the peak of my rabbinical career. Now I am proud to be the president and the CEO of the World Union for Progressive Judaism. That, as you know, no one is prophet in his own land. Now I get this position that is a big, big honor from someone that is coming from the bottom of the world to be 100 years later that this organization was created in London and moved to the US, and we have our headquarters in Jerusalem, that an Argentinian rabbi became the president and CEO of this global organization. We are talking an umbrella organization of 2 million Jewish people around 50 countries and 7 regions. For me, nothing will be more really important in my rabbinical career. But on the other hand, one of the central values of the Jewish tradition is tikkun olam, is to try to do the world better, to fix it. And I can tell you something, environment, climate change, sustainability, keeping our common house and working together like an extended family is my rabbinic commitment to serve not only the Jewish people, to serve the humankind. And this is what I learned also from Pope Francis. To try to do the best, to be part of the solution, and not to complain like a part of the problem. And the hermeneutics of Bergoglio about social reality have 4 principles that for me is his legacy and show up how aligned is with the Jesuit Torah. First of all, we need to make the distinction between time and space. Something that you really love and believe that it's important needs to be related to time, not to space. Space is the material dimension, that everything that you need to be really thankful that you have, space, but you will not take nothing of the space with you. But everything that you are doing in the dimension of time, and the more clear expression what we are doing with time that will keep with us forever, also when we live, is love. Love is not a thing, it's not the possession of others. Love is the open heart to share and to give unconditionally. This kind of thing are the transcendental dimension that we call God. The second principle means about the whole and the part. We are all the time talking about the piece of us that we are looking for, and we lose the whole picture. We are all the time part of something, part of the family, part of the neighbor, of the community, of the country. And the relationship between my part to make a contribution to the world is a spiritual commitment. The third one is the difference between the idea and the reality. We are talking 90% of our time about ideas. But we need to make an effort. How this idea became a real thing. That means how you align what you are saying with what you are doing. Because to change reality, only by action, not by talking. And the third one is the unity and the conflict. We are living in a world of conflicts. And unity will prevail the conflict. If we fix ourselves and we fix others to fix the world together. To finalize, I only want to say that I really was blessed to be a student of this journey of Bergoglio coming from Buenos Aires, Argentina, now to the Vatican. And he had not the expectation to finish the work. He had the expectation to give the exemplarity of the testimony, how you can be useful for the vision into the action. And the key for me, and this is the reason that I am so honored to be with all of you, is education and leadership. Coming back to the beginning, a teacher, a leader, and a head of the state need to prioritize education to grow up new leaders. And leadership means, in his vision, that you really move from being a professional victim of the circumstance to become the leader of your life and to give testimony with your life that a change is possible. Don't fix all the world first. We need humble to fix ourselves first. We cannot really look for love, peace, and justice outside if we are not people that are ready to love, to make peace, and to pursue justice. Thank you so much for the honor to be with all of us, you, and now I offer to you, if you have some questions and you want some interaction, thank you for listening. Thank you so much.
Rabbi, I have several questions, but I'm only going to ask one. And
You have the answers?
no, you might.
I mean, a problem.
Do you think there was a connection between the bombings in 1992 and 1994 with the change in the Constitution?
No, at all. I am really not related to that because there are different reasons. It's very complicated to explain, but as you know, in Argentina in 1992 and 1994 start a new era of international terrorism. We was really the more vulnerable place because in Argentina it's easy to make all this stuff, sadly to say. Without law, without justice, corruption, this is the problem. But if you remember, 92, 94, after that we have Atocha in Madrid, we have 3 or 4 terrorist attacks in Europe, and finally we have in September 11 here. That means start a new era how the terrorism works around the world, attacking civil societies in any place. That means I don't make any relationship between this and the Constitution, but yes, I make a relationship between the political alignment of the Argentina government with Iran. This is a point very important to understand what's happened in Argentina, and also the local connection, because in the local connection keep going in the army and the police some anti-Semitic components that they don't have the idea came from Tehran, but they were so really grateful and easy to help. That is another problem, the local connection. I'm talking local connection. As you know, we are talking from 92, 94, and we need to talk about 2018. 2018, they killed Alberto Nisman, the national prosecutor that worked about the investigation, and his final conclusion was very clear about what, and it's also very clear that the people that he accused killed him. He doesn't suicide. Sorry. I am a rabbi, I talk a lot. Sorry.
Thank you so much, Rabbi. Just a quick question. Since Bergoglio was elected Pope in 2013, have you been able to keep a relationship with him?
Yes, I will share with you something very interesting. In February will be 10 years of he was elected Pope. Incredible, 10 years. And I immediately, in February 2013, I went to Rome when he was really installed like the Pope. It was very moving for me. And also the picture that you saw here is the first time that I met him after he was installed like the Pope. And he received all of us in a bigger audience with all the religions. It was really moving for me. That he changed from black to white, no? Because he was in black in Argentina and suddenly he became white. The same guy, but with the kippah, the solideo white. But I say, you look great. But was really moving for me this possibility, but I also all the time, and this is one of the reasons that this lecture and I'm talking based in a book, because I moved my relationship with him in a very low profile, and I keep it like something for my heart, and not to have any public exposition about this relationship. That means this is something that I was, for me, clear to honor him and to respect the division about politics and his new role. I never use any public event, and when I visit or I'm in contact with him, I am very careful to really to show up in my new position. But I need to share with all of you something very interesting. He was so happy that I finished my mandate like a Minister of Environment, because the ministry don't finish with me, that the politics don't kill me, that I survive. I pay a high price, but all my work in the Ministry of Environment was aligned with his document Laudato Si, all my work. And I was clear about that I take over from Laudato Si every theological component, and I make a secular document that guide me in the public office in the Ministry of Environment. The more important thing of Laudato Si, I recommend to read it, because all the people are talking Laudato Si, Laudato Si. Nobody takes the time to read it. We need to read it. It's not about ecology. It's not about environment. It's about a political revolution, about economy and equity, and how we can really address the change that the world needs, not to collapse, not only in the environment, to take care about the poor people, to take care about women and kids, to take care about the people that we exclude from the system. This is for me Laudato Si. And this is for me what I really believe in, the triple impact of the new economy. You cannot really run economy to have only profit. You need to have economical profit, social profit, and environmental profit. And this is the new paradigm of the economy. Crazy, because what I am talking now, we are not talking this in the business school, we're not talking this in about the political school, we are talking about a document of the Pope. But this is for me my major contribution from his leadership. He's doing politics all the day, but the good politics, because good politics are a spiritual task. And when you come into politics, the more important thing that you need really to achieve is not to try to change politics. You need to be sure that politics doesn't change you. I encourage to come into politics anyway. We need more good people inside, in the system. Takes time, not space.
I do have a question. It's a kind of a basic question from you as a rabbi. Is there in ancient Judaism or modern Judaism a presupposition that God cannot become incarnate, that he can't become a human being? So is there something there, a presupposition that can't be violated?
The bad news in Jewish tradition is that we never will be agree, never. The bad and the good news are the same. We never will be agree. And this is for me, this is the richness of our discussion. What makes us one people is only one thing. We have one holy book, one. But we have the number of Jewish people that are reading the book have a different interpretation. But now we need to make a decision, and this morning I talked with the Dev Lab, the staff that works the theme of Marina. We need to make a clear distinction about three dimensions when we are talking about Judaism, Christianism. One thing is religion, another thing is religiosity, and a third thing is spirituality. When we are talking, we need to be clear about the glossary of the terms. Because first of all, religion is an institution. Religion is an institution. Every institution is based in two components, power and authority. Any institution, academic institution, religious institution, professional institution, unions, everything. Authority and power. You need authority and power to be an institution. Because if you are not there with authority and power, you have not continuity like an institution. A different dimension is religiosity. Religiosity is something sacred for you, only for you. How you live your religion. You go to the institution, you go to the church, you go to the synagogue, you listen to the priest and the rabbi teaching from the position of authority and power that came from the institution. No? What is the difference what I am talking like a rabbi and another Jew? That I am using authority and power in a symbolic representation because I have nothing of that. But the people believe the rabbi said, so what? So what? But the more important thing is spirituality. Spirituality have not copyright in any religion and any spirituality. Spirituality is the universal approach to every human being. To go out to everything that we have inside, spirituality, and to develop this in different ways. And this is, for me, the important thing for religion and religiosity, that we offer ways to develop spirituality. But we are not right. We are not the only way. I really want to teach that the Jewish tradition and religion is a way to develop the potential that you, like human being, can really go ahead in the Jewish community. Perfect. But what is the difference in spirituality with a poet, with something that is creating art, that is connect with another dimension? I know that what I'm saying is disruptive, but it's true. We cannot really have the power to lead every expression of spirituality, and these are only good news to allow to the people to grow up in their spirituality. And if you have frustration with religion and religiosity, keep going. Keep going. Don't be mad with that. Open your mind, open your heart, because spirituality is what makes us the divinity into the human dimension. This is the spirit of God.
Well, trying to be mindful to the time, and I really want to respect everybody's time.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
No.
You are absolutely on time. I would like just to finish this. Thanking everybody for being here, but at the same time to you, because while I was listening to you, I thought, now me coming from the Ignatian tradition, what a wonderful example of discernment. I mean, because you have really been presenting a process from the very beginning till now, and continuing about what to do, no, with your gifts and with your resources, and with that. So it has been a wonderful, really wonderful testimony of following the Word of God, serving the community. It has been wonderful. Thank you very much.
No, thank you.